A very lovely evening to all my students. I hope your preparation for the prelims exam is now in its full swing. So I thought of having a quick and brief word with you guys regarding the prelims examination. I won't take much of your time. I know how hard pressed you guys are for time right now. But as you guys know that I have myself faced the interview 4 times, which means I have cleared prelims 4 times. So maybe some of my learnings and some of my experience can be of some use for you people. So let me share some of my last moment tips, especially for those of you who are writing the exam for the first time. Okay, so most of these points are very general in nature. They may or may not apply to you. So if they apply to you and if you want, you may just jot down the main points. First is, it's high time before the exam that you guys sync your body's biological clock according to the schedule of the examination. I know that some of you may be in the habit of studying late into the night or maybe until the morning. Now that is what you have to change now, because if you keep doing that, the same schedule, then on the day of the examination, or rather the night before the examination, you won't be able to go to bed on time. So I strongly suggest all of you that from today onwards and until the day of the exam, you have 2 weeks. So start going to bed at 10 o'clock, not later than 11 p.m. right? So that on the day of the exam, the night of the exam, you are able to go to bed and have a sound sleep. And sound sleep is very important before the examination. Your mind will not perform efficiently to its highest potential if you are not rested properly. So a good night's sleep is very important before examination. Second thing is, I do not know what you guys have thought about the strategy to mark the OMRs. How do you plan to mark your answers? Now, one method can be that you do it one-on-one basis. That means you attempt one question and you mark its answer in your OMR. Then you come to the second question and then mark its answer to the second question, and this is how one-to-one. This, in my opinion, is not a very efficient strategy. First of all, it is going to take more time to do this. Second is, you will have to handle both your question paper and your OMR sheet at the same time. So this simultaneous handling of 2 sheets, the question paper and the OMR sheet, this can be risky. You may end up spoiling your OMR sheet. And remember, try to keep your OMR sheet as clean, as wrinkle-free as possible. So this one-and-one marking, one question, one answer marking is neither efficient nor it is advisable from the point of view of handling the 2 sheets. The second option is that you complete the entire question paper and you put a small mark on your question paper regarding the answer, and then in the end you mark all the answers. Now this, in my view, again is not a sound strategy, because in the end you may not have sufficient time to fill all the answers, and that would be a blunder if you are not able to fill your OMR, right? Also, it will take a lot of time towards the end to fill the OMR. So I think it would take a good 15-20 minutes to fill all the answers, right? So what I advise is that you break your entire question paper into 4 parts. So let's say 100 questions, you break it into 25, 25, 25, 25. So attempt first 25 questions, then take out your OMR sheet at the top and fill the answers, and very carefully, right? Then again attempt next 25 questions, then take out your OMR, attempt the answers, fill the bubbles, and then set aside your OMR sheet safely. Now this has one benefit, that you are not keeping it until the end, right? So you are not risking your answers. And second is that after 25 questions, when you take a break to fill your OMR sheet, it will also give your mind a little rest, little break from thinking that you are doing in the exam hall, right? This is also good strategy to keep a track of the time, because in that way you can divide the entire duration of the exam into 4 parts, right? So let's say 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So that way is also, it's very efficient. This is my opinion. You can continue whatever you feel comfortable in. Next is, please avoid careless mistakes and blunders in the exam. Now this is easier said than done because some mistakes will definitely take place. Your job should be to try and minimize such careless mistakes, because you know that if you know an answer and if you attempt that wrongly because of some carelessness, then not only you have lost that +2 that you would have got, but you have now attempted a wrong answer and that will cost you 1/3 marks. That means a loss of 2.66 marks, and that's a big difference. So please do not lose your focus, do not lose your concentration in the exam, because such careless mistakes happen usually when we are not concentrating on the question, when our mind is diverting, or we are in a hurry to assume certain things in these statements, in the question statements. So avoid as much as possible careless mistakes by maintaining high level of concentration during the exam and in the exam hall. Next is about tests. That I'm sure by now most of you have already attempted a lot of tests. So now at this stage, in run up to the prelims exam, now it's not very advisable to attempt too many tests. Whatever tests you have already attempted, try to revise them, see what mistakes you committed, where did you attempt the questions wrongly, what were your weak areas, try to study them, and not spend too much time now on attempting new tests, right? Then in every subject there are certain factual portions, those portions of the syllabus which you have to revise the day before the examination. I hope you guys have made a list of such factual things, whether it's in history or in geography or in polity or in economics or environment, wherever. Try to now familiarize yourself as much as possible with those factual parts of the syllabus, so that on the day of the exam, when a question related to those facts come in front of you, you're able to recall, right? Next is, on the day of the exam, please reach the exam center on time. Right? Do not reach the exam center at the last moment, right? In the 11th hour, that's not advisable, because on the day of the exam, you will be already anxious. And if you are running late in reaching the exam hall, you will further be more anxious. It will increase your anxiety. So don't do that. So reach the exam hall well in time. If possible, a day or 2 days before the exam, visit the exam center so that you are familiar with the route and the exact location of the exam center, right? On day of the exam, please wear some comfortable clothes, preferably cotton clothes, right? You are not going there to participate in some fashion show, all right? You are not going there to impress anybody, just wear comfortable cotton clothes, right? Then have a light breakfast. Now, see, I know that these are very small things, right? But when these small things add up, they can make a significant difference. Have a light breakfast on the day of the exam, right? Do not eat any heavy meal or any fatty foods, right? Do not eat samosa and puri and chole bhature before the examination. Whatever you are habitual of, just eat that. And please avoid outside food. In fact, outside food, from today onwards only, you should leave eating outside food, because God forbid if you suffer from any food poisoning or something, you will lose very precious days of revision at this time. So eat clean, drink clean from now onwards, and especially on the day of the examination. Eat some protein also in morning, so that it will stay in your stomach and that will not allow you to feel hungry, right? It will take time to digest. So some carbs, some protein. Okay. Then try to remain hydrated, right? Because it's month of May, it's super hot in most parts of the country. So stay hydrated, because again our mind requires proper hydration for its optimal functioning. So drink plenty of water, but don't overdo it, okay, for obvious reasons. Okay, you understand. Okay, and yeah, during the examination, while you are in the examination hall, before that and while you are in the room, do not talk to anybody. Okay, you are not going to exam center to make some new friends. You already have enough friends. So maintain silence, be with yourself, right? Try to focus on the examination. So on the day of exam, while you are waiting to enter the exam hall, while you are on your chair, on your seat, do not try to talk unnecessarily, chit chat with your neighbors here and there, right? और क्या तैयारी है वो सब, कहाँ से तैयारी करी, ये सब चीज़ें don't do that. Now after your paper 1 is over, I know there will be a temptation to check your answers online or discuss it with others, but don't do that. In fact, do not even look at your paper 1 during the break. So paper is over, do not discuss with anybody, quietly come out of the exam center, right? Eat something, have a rest of 10-15 minutes and then revise your CSAT. Right? No need to talk to anybody or cross-check your answers, nothing. Don't do that. It will be tough, but believe me, it's very important, right? Then, what about pen? I don't know which pen you guys are going to use. Again, small thing, but try to use a pen which has a broader nib, not a very pointed, sharp nib, because that will reduce the time taken to fill the bubbles in the OMR, right? Do not use brand new pen on the day of the exam, right? So buy 3-4 pens, use them for a few days before the exam and use those used pens on the day of the exam so that they become smooth, and use a broader nib wala pen. I used to use this pen, I don't remember the name, it's been more than 10 years now. It was a good pen and that was most popular pen for this prelims exam with a broad nib, right? Also, please focus on the high yielding areas. That means areas from where you have most number of questions, which you all know: modern history, polity, economy, environment, geography. So focus on these areas. Do not try to be a perfectionist at this time. No, right? Because that will take away a lot of your time, whereas you won't be able to solve as many questions, right, with those efforts. Also, do not overdo in terms of number of questions that you are going to attempt, right? Now I can't put finger on a number at how many questions should you attempt, 75, 80, 85, that is totally up to you. But remember that you will commit certain mistakes, so always consider that 15, maybe 17, 18, 20, 25 questions are going to be wrong. So keeping that in mind, calculate your own optimal number depending on the feedback that you have got in your mock tests, and do not take unnecessary risks. No, don't do that, because if you take unnecessary risks, that will end up giving you a lot of negative marks. Do not take unnecessary risks, especially where you cannot eliminate any option, right? Don't do that, not required. And in the end, I will say that I'm sure you guys are under a lot of stress. That is obvious. That shows that you are sincere aspirant, you have put in your efforts. But remember that you cannot control the result, right? That is not something in your control. You can only control your efforts. You can only control your actions. So something which is not in your control, there is no point worrying about it. You have done your job, whatever you could do, your best, you have done it. Leave the rest on the God, right? And I don't want to be too religious right now, but as Lord Krishna had said ना, कि फल की चिंता मत करो, तुम कर्म करो, just do your job, do your dharma. Don't worry about the fruit of your dharma, right? Although fruit is important because a lot of things are at stake. Your hard work, your sacrifices, your family's hopes are at stake. But all right, you have done your bit. Now do not worry too much, right? Because worrying too much is not going to change the result. चिंता करने से तो सिलेक्शन नहीं होगा, एग्जाम नहीं निकलेगा, तो फिर what's the point of doing चिंता? What's the point of worrying, right? I know it's difficult, but try to follow these small tips to maximize your chances of clearing the prelims examination, right? That's it. This is what I wanted to talk to you guys. I'll see you guys after the prelims exam, right? Take care, right? Okay.